An encourager or someone who puts others down. The Bible tells us in 1 Thessalonians 5:11 to encourage one another and to build up each other. And I believe that this is one of the most important verses because this command will, in the long run, encourage people to come and stay with the church. I mean, who wants to go to a church where they're always put down and where they don't feel welcomed? With that being said, being an encourager is a big part of being a follower of Christ. Jesus was very clear on how he wanted us to treat others. Verses like Luke 6:31, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Luke 6:35, but love your enemies, do good to them without expecting to get anything back. Verses like these show how to be an encourager makes you a better Christian overall. So now you ask, Austin, I don't know any examples of being a good encourager in the Bible. Well, you asked the right guy. I'll give you two examples that we should look to, Paul and Barnabas. Let's start with Paul first. This week at LTC, we predominantly focused on the book of Acts, and a big part of the book of Acts is Paul and all his missionships spanning from 47 to 57 AD, adding up to a total of almost 7,000 miles with him, going to different parts of Europe and Asia, telling people who were with him not to give up and to keep going even in the face of adversity. Him and his companions had to face things like being stoned and even thrown in jail twice. And if it wasn't for Paul, Christianity may have not have been as big as it is today. Now to Barnabas. Barnabas' real name was Joseph, but he was given the name Barnabas, which means son of encouragement, because of all the acts he performed to encourage early Christians and to promote the growth of the early church. These acts included selling his possessions to those in need. He encouraged Christians to continue with the Lord and to strive hard with him. He helped Paul become a great missionary. He supported the great young missionary John Mark, and probably the most noble thing he did was vouch for Saul to become a Christian. Before Paul became a Christian, he was known as Saul, and Saul was known for killing and persecuting Christians by the thousands. So you can imagine how hard it would have been for most people to believe Paul, but Barnabas did it anyways. So now that I've given you examples of encouraging people, now I'll give you ways you and I both can act more encouraging. The first thing I learned from my dad, and I call it the cost and reward. Pretty much it says that every action has a cost and reward. So for example, I say to someone I like their tie. The cost was now they know how I feel about it, and the reward is they now feel a little bit better about themselves. The second thing you can do is be more optimistic. This means being more positive with the people around and not to be, a Debbie Downer about things. And this will help people feel better and to see the brighter side of things. I mean, why shouldn't we be more optimistic? The Bible tells us in Hebrews 13:6, we say with confidence, the Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? And this gives us confidence to take on life with a smile. Thirdly, don't gossip and talk poorly about others. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 4:29, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. That goes back to the verse in 1 Thessalonians about how we need to build up others. So if you have a problem with someone, talk about it with them in private instead of spreading gossip around. And lastly, look out for what's best for others. You should always try your best to look out for others and to do things that benefit them and make them better. Not only will this make you better overall, but as the Bible tells us in Hebrews 13:16, it pleases God. So in conclusion, being an encourager is something everyone should work on. It doesn't have to be something huge like selling all your possessions or traveling 7,000 miles preaching. It can be something small like helping someone through a hard time or giving someone a smile and a handshake. Just always try to remember the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, and your life and the lives of the people around you will be a lot better.